Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the final day of the Wireless Technology Forum, WTF20. Remember, hashtag WTF20. I'm Tom Carpenter, the CTO at CWNP, and I welcome you to another excellent day of presentations. We're going to have a lot of really great information for you today. To start right off, I want to give you a little bit of insight into the back end and what we've been doing here. So one of the big challenges we've all faced since COVID-19 is how do we put an online presentation together or an entire conference and still help people feel like they're part of a community? So we chose the platform we did because of all of the community building features that it offers. And I know that a lot of you have gotten to experience that in chat and things like that. You might have noticed yesterday we got behind a little bit. So as we're going along, one thing you might know about Tom Carpenter is he can be a little bit chatty and he can talk to people and talk all day about wireless stuff. And so sometimes in our Q&A sessions, they may go a little bit long. And so it gets a little bit behind schedule because of that. And we did make up yesterday afternoon, doing a rescheduling and getting things back on queue to make it a little bit easier for you. But I want to encourage you to know, if that should happen today, just know that when you go into a channel, if it hasn't started yet, it's going to start in just a few minutes as soon as that session is ready to be queued up based on where we are in the schedule. We're doing our best to make sure that this feels as much like you're there as possible. And that means that we get to bring these people to you live in the Q&A sessions, and you get to hear that excellent information. Our goal is to give you more than we promised. And so that's really what we're trying to accomplish here. So thanks for your patience and thanks for participating. And I hope that you're enjoying those live sessions when you get to hear from these people that have given you such valuable content. And I don't know about you, but wow, I have been impressed with the effort these presenters have put into putting something together for you that makes you feel like they really care about giving you valuable information. It has been just phenomenal. I've been overly impressed. Now, what I want to do today as well in this opening session is I want to share with you something because, a lot of times those of us in the, let's call it the geek space, we like to look at standards for how the stuff works. So we like to look at the RFCs and the IEEE standards and standards by different organizations. We love to look at how all that stuff works. So we're always looking at protocol specifications and application development specifications or programming languages and things like that even. But sometimes I think we forget about that other side of the business, the what you might call the soft side of the business. And here we're talking about when we have to do analysis and we have to do requirements engineering and we have to do project management and manage the systems development lifecycle and all of these different parts and pieces. Well, this might surprise some of you, but we actually have standards for those things as well. So they're actually documents that we can use to understand how to go through those processes. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to begin from nothing. For example, you might be involved in a project in your organization where you're in the middle of determining exactly what you're going to do for requirements engineering or how you're going to manage quality or assurance or something like that in relation to your IT projects or your wireless network implementations. Well, the good news, we have standards for that. And I'm not really going to show any of them to you, but I want to just let you know about a few of those. One of them is by the IEEE. It's actually originally by the ISO and IEC, but the IEEE adopted it. And it is the Systems and Software Engineering Lifecycle Process. This is the title. And then it ends with Requirements Engineering. It's an entire document on requirements engineering, over 100 pages long. And it gives you the whole process from start to finish to how to go through requirements engineering, defining your requirements at every stage of the systems development lifecycle. And so rather than start from nothing, look at documents like this. And in other areas, if you're worried about assurance or quality, there are documents for that as well. IEEE, ISO, IEC standards, take a look at those. If you go to, for example, IEEE Explore, and you go into that section of the IEEE website, you can search for just about anything you want. And if you search for requirements engineering, for example, and then you check the little tick box that says standards only, then what it does is it shows you all of the standards related to requirements engineering. And so everything that you might want to find is right there before you. Now, they're not all free, and you do have to pay for some of them, but they usually give you at least some samples of what they look like. In some cases, they might not be free at the IEEE website, but you might be able to use the ISO website and their Document Explorer and be able to view the ISO version of the document there in an online format without having to purchase it. It does vary by document, but it's worth looking around at the different sites to see if one of them might be offering it to you in a format that's free while the other might require payment. So browse around, look for those documents. Anytime you're dealing with any kind of a soft thing, always step back and ask, I wonder if somebody's already invented this wheel. I wonder if somebody has already determined the best way to do this. And here's the thing, when you look in these documents, like the one that I mentioned, which is actually, by the way, IEEE 29148-2018, that particular document actually has a list of dozens and dozens of professional engineers like yourself who came together to determine what's the best way to do requirements engineering. And I will tell you, I saw that document for the first time myself about a year ago, and I was blown away. Because what I found is if you were to take all of the books on software development, software engineering, systems engineering, all the books on my shelf, and you were to skim them through about their best practices and the processes they define and all of that, and then you try to aggregate them together and say, how would I bring these together to really be one good solid system? The amazing thing, it's all right there in that standard. And so I encourage you, take a look at standards that aren't about protocols. Take a look at specifications that aren't about programming languages. Look at some of the other stuff, because I think you'll find it'll help you make your job a whole lot easier. Okay, that was the cool information I wanted to share with you this morning, because I found a lot of people are not familiar with that very fact. Now with that, we're going to be getting ready. We're going to be queuing things up here in the studio for your presentations all day long. And in just a few minutes, we're going to be joining Sam Clements, and he's going to talk to us about the Wi-Fi Awards. So until then, get ready for some good viewing today.